Hey folks, it's been a while, but Doc Tima here. Hope you're all doing well. Um, I don't really have a script for this one. I was going to run with it. There has been the use of the term Marxist lately in the press, in the media, um, being used to describe the new pope, being used to describe Andor season two, really being used to describe anything that does not go along with a particular ideological perspective or belief structure. I'm not going to get into, I'll be honest, the foolishness of using the term the way it's used. Instead, I want to talk about just what and who Marx was briefly. I'm not going to get into it. There's whole classes and books on it. But in brief, Karl Marx was a philosopher. He was a journalist, and he was an economist. And he, when trying to figure out how we determine the worth of a thing, a product, a widget, if you're in a macro and micro econ class, the easy way to understand the value of a thing is the materials plus the labor equals value, right? That's a straightforward thing. And for the longest time, that's how we determined the value of a thing. The materials, the labor to create the thing, equal the value of the thing. And that worked out well for a long time, thousands of years. And then people decided that they wanted to make a profit, which is fine. We live in a capitalist society in the United States and across a good hunk of the world. So sure, make a profit, make a little bank. All right. So then what we do is he starts asking, how does this happen? How does this happen? Well, it happens when you begin to add a false value to a thing. You commodify the thing. The phrase he used was commodity fetishism. What that means is it's the product or it's the materials plus the labor plus the X factor. What you make claims about the product that may or may not be as accurate, what you say about the product, what people think about the product. Let's put it another way. For example, back in the day, Air Jordans were a huge thing, right? Everyone had to have their Jordans. I did not have a pair of Jordans, couldn't afford them. Here's something to think about. They're a basketball shoe. Granted, they're probably a good basketball shoe. But the value in it didn't come from the product materials or the labor. No, the value came from the symbol of Air Jordan doing his move, and that is why they could charge 2 or 3 times as much for that pair of shoes as they could without that little symbol on it. You probably could have bought the exact same pair of shoes from Nike without that symbol for 40% of the cost that you're paying for it. We see this today now. We see it with cars. We see it with Apple products. We see it with anything that you're selling as a brand. You're doing what's called fetishizing. You're giving value to it that has nothing to do with the actual product or what it does, and everything to do with the social capital that is connected to it. But that's how you want to make a profit? That's cool, no problem. Everyone does it, great. Except, and here's where Marx comes into play. What he found was that even if a product that now was being sold for more, if that profit rarely was divided equally amongst the people who made it, the people who did the labor to construct the thing, the people who promoted the thing, the owner of the company. Rather, the majority of the profit went to the owner, and sometimes not any of the profit went to the laborer, the people building the thing. Now, yes, the owner had the idea. We call that R&D, that's fine. But when you've got one group of people that is making the majority of the money on the product, and another group of people who are essentially not seeing the benefits of this additional profit. We have a class division that occurs. We have the people, the working class, you've heard this before, and the ownership class. You've heard this getting thrown around a lot. So that's Marxist economic theory. That is the idea of political economy, right? That the economic structure is not built around the labor and the production of a thing, but the politicking of it. Politics, people. When you involve the people in it, that's where the economics get shifted. And that's where we see this division occur. So, what does this have to do with any of the media coverage? Well, Marx has a rather bad rap, which is funny if you really think about it, because all he was trying to do is figure out why people were making less money. That's what he was trying to figure out. And who was making the money if there's money being made. So, if we take that idea and superimpose it onto other spaces, what we have is class power. What we have is those in power who, in order to maintain that power, further oppress those who really give them the power by the labor they do, the consumption of products that they go through. So they're consume these products every day, and as you consume these products, they're making profits on us. But the people who make that product, chances are they're not actually seeing any of that. It goes to the owners, right? Why would you call the Pope a Marxist? I don't know. Maybe it's because he actually, from what I understand, I'm not Catholic, but I have studied Catholic doctrine, and those who are Augustinian, though they are rule followers, they do believe in serving the least of us. If you look at Andor, what's it all about? A rebellion. The people who are screaming that Andor season 2 is some sort of woke Marxist thing, have you not watched any of the other Star Wars material? Any of it. Like Lucas was talking about a rebellion in 77 or whenever Star Wars came out. That's the whole premise of the whole freaking show, of the whole universe, is a rebellion against those in power who would control everything else so they can stay in power. Why do I want to bring this up in a media literacy podcast, media literacy, whatever the hell this thing is that we're doing here? Simple. We have to be very careful about listening to what people say and why they say it. And more importantly, and here's the thing I want you to think about. Do they actually know what the hell they're talking about? Be critical consumers. Be critical media consumers. Sit back and thoroughly think through what they're saying about Andor being woke leftist Marxist. You want woke leftist Marxist? I'm a Star Trek nerd. Watch Star Trek. Damn. Star Wars is all about, they're all Wild Westy, Seven Samurai kind of hodgepodge stuff, right? But Star Trek, you watch out for Star Trek. That'll get you in trouble. Anyways, that's my rambling. I was just thinking about this today as I saw some stuff in the feed, and I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this. So, there it is. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We're in for a wild ride for a while here when it comes to the messages we're going to be giving on a daily basis. So, stay tuned. Stay focused. Be aware of what's going on. And, be good critical media consumers. Please. Be great. That's all for now. Take it easy. Be well. We'll catch you soon. See ya.